Well, Luke, I think back to the first game you played against Tahiti, and it was very comfortable. Was it a 3-0 win? And it felt today like it wasn't quite as comfortable. Obviously, you had the ball in the back of the net, an offside, and you missed a penalty. They hit the woodwork. It was a different sort of a game today.
Well, funnily, I actually said to the players at half-time it was almost identical to the last game as far as our decision-making and execution in the first half last time. We talked at half-time about improving that, and that was the gap between us going on and winning the game. And then we came out in the second half and got 3 really quick goals and ended up winning 4-0, and that was the difference. So today I thought that we had a number of moments in the first half, including a penalty, where it was either our decision or our execution let us down. And because we didn't take those chances, of course, the opposition is always going to have their moments, and they had some big moments today, and thankfully for us, they didn't take them.
So, sometimes you scrap out a win. I mean, do you think not playing the other day, this is the first time, and you don't want to be like this in a competition and a game's back up, but where you haven't had that kind of 3-day gap between matches, so a little bit more time with it. Do you think your boys were a little bit fresher today?
Yeah, they should have been, but I still went with the exact same lineup that I put out for the last game. So, we need players to get minutes, we need players to understand what we're looking for, and then as we get closer to the pointy end of the competition, then, that's when we maybe won't rotate as much. But, it was good for some boys to get minutes, and, you learn from every game, and we certainly got a lot out of today's game. But fortunately, we can take those learnings with 3 points, because it could have ended up that wasn't the case.
And that's another point here, because you have accumulated points nicely in the competition. A little wobble, if you want to call it, with the defeat in Port Moresby and in the draw last week. But you're in well placed now, aren't you? And I imagine the first goal is always to be in that leaders group, the top 4 for the playoffs. And you've accumulated a lot of points now. So, barring a disaster, you're probably going to get there. What's your strategy now as you plan for Honiara in 2 matches over there, and what will be, again, very different conditions to here?
Yeah, look, obviously we'll get back to Auckland. The players will have a couple of days off, and we'll freshen up and see how all the bodies pull up. And hopefully by the time we get to the Solomons, we're at full strength again. So we've had a number of games now, where we haven't had the full complement of players, and everyone's played their part. As you said, we're sitting where we are, and the number one goal is to be in that top group come the final circuit, and that's all we're really focused on at the moment.
And Taz going off, was that relatively early? Was that more precautionary? He hasn't had any football, so he's just
it was pre-planned. He's coming back from a hamstring injury, so before the game he was playing 45 and that's it, and we're going to make the sub. Again, it's not ideal, because you saw at the end we needed to make subs, and you've already used one up, guaranteed, but that was pre-planned. We didn't want to risk pushing him too hard coming back from a hamstring injury and re-injuring, so we stuck with that plan.
And Oscar, always good when you're wearing the number 1 to keep a clean sheet, and you didn't have to do too much, but one or 2 saves there. How do you, from your perspective, in the goal, how did you find it out there today?
I think we dominated for most parts. I think, like Luke said, if we scored a couple or at least one earlier on, I think it's probably a little bit more comfortable. And the longer that they stayed in the game, the more energy they had. But I thought overall, for the third game against a decent Tahiti, it's a good win.
You were playing club football, obviously, Western Springs last year. You've come to Auckland FC in the Pro League. You've played in Auckland, of course, Eden Park and North Harbour, up to Port Moresby, down to Melbourne, next stop Honiara. How are you finding just life as a young professional footballer in the OFC Pro League?
It's obviously my first pro contract, so it's a good opportunity. We're going well, which is also nice. It's always good to be winning games. Port Moresby was an experience, I guess. I'm sure the same will be in Solomon Islands with the fans, full stadiums, all that. But I've been loving it so far.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in Honiara.
He has to say he's loving it when he's sitting next to the coach, doesn't he?
Brilliant. Right.